Warning. This podcast is about the horror genre, specifically horror films. As most horror movies are filled with coarse language, violence, and/or gore, the topics and language of the cast of the pod will also reflect the genre. If you have any issues with the aforementioned warnings, please press stop. But if you have no issue with adult language, movie violence, or the accoutrement that accompanies horror films, please feel free to continue. You have been warned.
Remember, you have been warned.
You have been warned.
All right, so it's Josh and Deb back for this special edition of Cast of the Pod, this feature that we're doing. Supernatural stuff. I don't know what we're calling it yet.
Right now it's just supernatural stuff.
Yeah, it's just a supernatural edition of what we're doing. Today we're talking about Season 1, Episode 2 of Supernatural. Deb and I are going through each one of these as little add-ons, addendums, if you will, to our regular Cast of the Pod. Mm-hmm. And this being one of Deborah's favorite shows of all time, and I've missed a couple of seasons here and there. She's seen every episode multiple times.
Yep. This is my,
Your third time through?
Third time.
Okay, so 2 times. It's multiple. 3. Going on to it now. So today's episode is entitled How did they say it?
Wendigo.
Mm-hmm. I always said Wendigo.
I did too.
But the Wendingo. Like, where did Dean go? A dingo ate my baby. Are you stealing my line?
No.
No, because when we were watching the episode, I said that. Now you're trying to use it right now.
No, I said Wendigo.
Oh, okay. A dingo ate my baby.
I didn't say that. So I wasn't stealing your line.
Okay.
I wasn't. Honest. All right.
So, this is after the pilot, right?
Yeah.
And you can tell that they're in a real season because their audio is so much better. Their voices sound more like their voices.
It doesn't look like an after-school special anymore.
Except when they show the campsite, which is like how they did in Bad Moon.
Yeah, Bad Moon.
And but
it was the creature was better
because you didn't see it.
That's right.
Now we'll get to the creature at the end of the episode. You and I haven't talked about it yet. We literally just quit watching it right now.
And then came straight to our studio.
Straight to the studio, which is the other room.
Shh. They don't need to know that.
So we'll go to the Supernatural Wiki off of supernaturalwiki.com. After spending a week in Palo Alto, looking for the thing that killed Jessica, Sam and Dean head to Blackwater Ridge and the coordinates their father left in his journal. At the Lost Creek Trail Ranger Station, I need to get my reading glasses. Ranger Wilkinson mistakes the brother for friends of Haley Collins, the sister of Tommy Collins, a boy who went missing while camping on a trip. On a hunch, Sam and Dean visit Haley. It wasn't a hunch. It was Dean was trying to hook up. Sam even told him. He's like, "Are you trying to get some?" She shows them the last video Tommy sent via his cell phone before he disappeared. It was like a Palm Pilot, and it was like 1/10 of a megapixel filmed on a potato. And she was like, "He always sends pictures and those stupid videos, all 4 seconds of it." She also informs them that she and her younger brother Ben Collins have hired a guide and are heading to the head of the hills to find Tommy the next morning. Go ahead, Deb. What were you gonna say?
I forgot.
Are you over there texting?
No, I was yawning.
No. Okay, so we find out that Sam and Dean are traveling, looking to the coordinates, which was like 55 by a -111 that their dad left in the book. No, so what are you laughing?
It was 35.
Something like that. And Sam's still having these nightmares of losing his girlfriend.
Because he lost her like at the end of the first episode.
Season 1, right? Season 1, episode 1. One episode before this. And I'm telling Deborah, I'm like, man, she looks familiar.
And I said, yeah, I recognize her, but I don't know where I recognize her from.
She played Wonder Woman in the Wonder Woman series that was never to be. And she also played Bobby Morse, Mockingbird, in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
And
she's done tons of other things. But yeah, you really couldn't tell who she was in the first episode. But in the second episode, where they show her picture on the tombstone, it was a much more, yeah. The headshot was much more recognizable. So, as they head out to Blackwater Ridge, Sam and Dean Dean's showing that he feels bad for Sam because Sam's having this nightmare. And right when he goes to the tombstone, all Carrie style, her hand comes up from the ground.
Yeah, that scared me because I forgot about that part.
It was a literal jump scare for Deb.
I was like, ah! Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
So they get out there, and they think it's a black dog, or what else did they think it was? There's so many myths and legends.
Yeah, I forgot what
they
said.
knew it wasn't a bear attack. Bear's malmenstruation. That's from... I don't know if I should say something like that. That's from Anchorman, if you don't. So as they go out there, there's this douchebaggery guy named Roy.
Well, because Haley, the other girl, the
sister.
Yeah, the sister. She
hires him. I just said that.
Yeah, but you're like, there's this guy. Like, if he just popped up out of nowhere.
So yeah, he's the guy that we talked about previously in the paragraph before this. And they're like, "Are you really Rangers?" Because Sam and Dean are pretending to be Rangers because they show up in biker boots and blue jeans. And they didn't bring any provisions. And Dean says, "Who says I didn't bring provisions?" And he's got a big ass bag of M&Ms.
And he winks at her.
Wink.
And I was like, oh.
And so as they're walking through the forest, and Roy was like, "Are you sure you're a ranger?" And he grabs Dean by the arm, and Dean's like, "What do you got a problem here?" That's how he says it. That's not an exact quote, but I'm paraphrasing.
Then he stops Dean from walking into a bear
trap.
He
uses his walking stick, bap, and he hits a bear trap, which would have discorporated Dean's leg.
Yeah, so I was happy for that. He saved Dean's life.
Deborah,
what?
How are you going to act like you haven't seen this episode when we told everybody this is already your third time through?
I don't know, because every time I watch it...
Are you remembering back to 2000 when...
Well, yeah, it scared me. I forgot about the part with the hand, so yeah.
And so right after that, Haley's all like, "You're not really Rangers. Let me know who you are." And he's like, "He's Dean. No, he's Sam. I'm Dean. We're brothers. We're looking for our dad." And she's like, "Why didn't you say that from the beginning?" He's like, "Hey, this is the most honest I've ever been to a woman."
Ever.
Wink.
And he winks at her again. I would have been like, okay, let's go.
That's all I need to hear.
Exactly.
This mother. All right, so they get out there, and then they find not the brother, but the friend of the brother, right?
Yeah.
You said
talking about the three that were camping?
Yeah.
Or the two that
they were playing Metroid on their Game Boys, their Game Boy Advances.
And they were playing against each other, right?
Yeah.
Or were they playing and then just like amongst themselves and then just trying to
I don't know. It doesn't matter. But they were playing Metroid Prime on Game Boy Advanced or something like that.
Yeah.
And one of them, you said you recognized one of them. I thought he was a young Philip DeFranco.
He looked like him. But no, he's the guy that comes out in Glee, the main guy.
Is that the guy that passed away?
Yes.
Okay, so that guy.
Yeah.
Later on, he looks like a young C. Thomas Howell. Oh, spoiler alert! When they find him hanging in the cage, well, they don't find him there. That's when the Wendigo eats him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he got eated.
So the friend, his name is Corey Mentif.
Corey Mentif.
Mm-hmm.
Mentif.
Mentif.
Like friend. Look at that. Mentif.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mentif, like Keith.
Mentif.
But
Mentif.
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 Ooh, does that matter?
No.
Then why are you even saying it?
Because we were talking about it.
So they realize that it's a Wendigo, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, "It's not a black dog. It's not a other supernatural thing. It's a Wendigo." And they're like, "Uh-oh." So it's a super hunter during the day, and it's an amazing hunter during the night. Even though they've only been walking for like 40 minutes, they don't think they're going to make it back in time. So they have a campsite, and they drew Anastasi symbols all around it, right?
Yep.
And of course, old Roy is like, that ain't gonna help us from nothing out here, especially, whatever's coming out of the woods.
Yep, because he's a
hunter, real hunter.
A real hunter.
Real hunter. Not like you two boys.
Yep. Because he was out there hunting while Sam was still with his mom.
Oh, yeah.
That's what he said.
That's what he said. Or your mama was still changing your diapers. I was out here hunting.
Yep.
Well, his mama ended up in flames on the roof. Killed by the yellow-eyed demon. Oh, they haven't said that's what his name was yet.
No.
Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert.
Way to go, Josh.
Yeah. So, they start hearing screams from out in the woods. And, of course, Roy's going gun happy, just shooting. He's like, I hit it.
Yep.
And he starts running after it. And as soon as he runs after it, what happens? Here come the vampire arms from the top of the tree and snaps his neck.
Yep.
So the next day, Sam, Dean, Haley, and Ben, they're walking around the woods looking for him, right?
Yep.
And this being the second episode of Supernatural, what happened in the first one? Whenever somebody was dead, blood drops from the roof. What happens in this one?
Blood drops.
Blood drops from the top, right?
Mm-hmm.
Haley looks up, and then here comes Roy falling head first from the top of whatever giant tree, hits the ground, boom. Dean touches him and goes, his neck broke. You think, Dean? Really? Thank you, Dr. Dean.
That was pretty funny.
It wasn't meant to be funny. I mean,
oh, what you said.
I know it's
okay.
Okay. So this is showing when there's some tension between Sam and Dean, because Dean's like, Sam's like, how do you do this? And he's like, we have to help these families. That's the best thing. He's like, well, how do you and Dad keep he's like, well, we have to kill these evil creatures that makes it better, and we're gonna keep on going with the family business. Right?
Yep.
So do you have anything you want to add in there?
No, I'm going along with you.
So it's just gonna be me reading back what happens in these episodes?
No, we're talking back and forth.
Okay. So, as they start running after the Wendigo, which they point out knives don't hurt it, guns don't hurt it.
But
it's got to be fire. And
then,
Dean has one. Go ahead.
No, I was saying he had the flare, he took it out of the bag.
Well, all he had was a Molotov cocktail.
Yeah, that's what
cocktail.
He took it out of the bag
But he had one bottle was a metal bottle with a screw on top. It was like a thermos. And then the other hand, he had a glass bottle.
Yeah.
Yeah, you really don't want to use it. Now, I'm not going to tell people how to make those things. But anyways, so they chase after it. And Haley and Dean get kidnapped by the Wendigo. Right?
When I first saw that, I was like kind of surprised that Dean got
he got.
Dean, yeah. Like Haley, I could understand, but I
well,
was like,
the writers. This is a young Dean. What is he, like 26 at this time?
Yeah.
And it's a young Dean, and the writers still haven't learned, the characters of them. They like I said earlier, though, at least they got their decent voices back instead of the squeaky voices.
Yeah, this one was a better episode.
So as Sam and Ben Collins being the brother, are looking for anything about Dean and Haley, they find, what do they find on the forest floor?
They find the M&Ms that Dean was leaving.
Better than breadcrumbs.
And he was like, oh, yeah, he said better than breadcrumbs. And they followed the trail of M&Ms.
On the Supernatural Wiki, it says peanut M&Ms.
Oh, they were peanut M&Ms. Yeah, the better ones.
So they get in there, and they find Dean and Haley hanging from the roof by their wrists, right? They cut them down. And in the same exact room, the very same room, after they cut them down, they're like, oh, are you okay? Yes, are you okay?
Yes,
I'm still okay.
I'm okay.
And then they're like, oh my God, it's Tommy. Tommy was hanging there. They never saw Tommy that whole time.
Because they were knocked out. They were out.
Okay.
Because when Sam and Ben went in there, Sam woke Dean up, and Ben woke Haley up. He was like, wake up, Haley, wake up. So they were out that whole time.
Okay, so it's very woke. is what you're saying.
They're very woke.
They woke.
Yeah. So when she woke up and then they cut her down, they cut him down, and they were sitting against the wall, and she like finally like woke up, and that's when she looked forward and she saw him hanging.
And then she goes over there. She's like, Tommy, no, no. And she touches his face because he's dead. And he's not dead.
He's not. He's like, ah! And she's like, ah!
Yes,
And
exactly like that.
And then she turned around. She's like, cut him down. Giving orders.
So here's the cool part of it.
Calm down, Haley.
Okay. So here's the cool part of it. They cut him down. They go to escape. You hear the noise of the Wendigo in the background, right? Mm-hmm. Dean finds their camping gear there. And he pulls some flare guns out. And he's like, look what I got. Flare guns. And he spins them around his fingers, 6-gun style. You know, like the kid from 90210 that shot himself on accident.
That was sad. I was sad when I saw that.
But
now I'm sad. Why?
So they're walking out of the tunnels, right? Out of that they're hidden in. And they're like, we can't make it out. We have to go different directions. And Dean's all like, are you thinking what I'm thinking? And Sam's like, I think so. He goes, think so. And then he looks at the girl and he goes, wank, wank. He winks at her.
He winks at her.
Not
for
wank.
Like the 100th time.
And he's like, follow Sam. He'll get you out of here.
She's like, no, don't leave me.
So they start following Sam. And then Dean's all like he's doing his best impersonation of the guy from the Breakfast Club, of Judd Nelson.
Why do you say that?
Because when Judd Nelson's trying to get the guy to pay attention to him so all the rest of the guys don't get busted.
Oh, when they're running the hallway.
And he's running down the halls and he's all
banging
on the lockers and all that. That's what Dean's doing. Dean's like, come and get me. You want some food? And then they're 2005. Remember, you've been warned about language and all that, so don't complain about it. Dean's all like, you want some white meat, bitch?
I know. I was like, they could say bitch? When I first saw it, I was thinking that.
And
not today.
What does the Wendigo go after? The Wendigo goes after Sam and the other people. But I'm thinking that was part of the plan, part of the wink, because it's chasing Sam and it's chasing them. Then they run into a dead end because Sam's dumbass with his freaky genius brain that they always call during the rest of the series gets him to a dead end, which, I mean, maybe it was his freaky genius brain because he shoots at the Wendigo, misses. Right?
And then did you notice, like, when so he misses him, and then he runs to Haley and Ben and Tommy, and he's like telling them, go, 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 right? And then they get to the dead end, and then did you notice? I didn't notice. The last couple times until now, he stood in front of them with his arms out, right? Yeah. And he had his eyes closed.
Because he was scared. Leave him alone.
But he was like trying to make the Wendigo go away or something.
So, like the Wendigo makes his appearance. And it looks like Nosferatu's lesser known cousin, Sheki Feratu. And it looked horrible, to be honest with you. So he stands up and he's showing his gray skin and his bald head and is basically me. And it's just like, roar, right? Mm-hmm. And then out of nowhere, Dean pops out and he's like, hey, you. And he turns around. The Wendigo turns around. Sam shoots him. Dean shoots him in the stomach with the flare gun.
He's like,
completely envelops him into fire. Kills the Wendigo. So maybe that was the plan. Maybe that was the whole plan, to lead the Wendigo over there the other way, to distract him long enough for Dean to sneak up behind him.
Maybe.
He silently sneaks up behind him so he doesn't know that he's there. Then he warns him, hey, you, turn around.
Because earlier they did say that he was a
super smart, super fast
predator.
Furry predator.
A furry predator?
I mean, that's what he said. This hairy predator, something like that.
But he wasn't hairy.
I know that. You know that.
He did say he was a hairy predator.
I know there's a reference to it over here. What is it?
But he was not hairy at all. Oops. Ding.
He says our fuzzy predator friend. Yeah, he was fuzzy. He wasn't hairy.
Oh.
But so I was looking at the notes, and it says, okay, we haven't ended the episode yet, but it says that in the original one, it had hot blooded, can't you see? And then Down South Jukin' from Leonard Skinner. I don't know the song. And then Fly By Night by Rush. Right?
Uh-huh.
On Netflix, they don't have those songs.
I don't think they have the rights to all the songs.
Right. So it's got She Ain't Lonesome by Steve Pfister. Not Steve Fisher. Steve Pfister.
Mm-hmm.
And Strung Out by Eliza. Those are the songs that, man, that's sad.
Yeah. We need to buy like all the
originals.
seasons.
And I bet you they're not on the original. We have a bunch of them. You know that, right?
No.
Yeah, we do.
Oh.
But anyway, skinwalkers. That's the other word they use. Skinwalkers are black dogs.
Skinwalkers are black dog.
Yeah, and they find out it's neither one of them. So what happens at the end? At the end, they're back at the what do you call it? The
campsite.
The campsite. No, not the
Not the
campsite.
campsite,
The
but
ranger shed, or
Yeah.
where Yogi Bear is like, "Hey, Ranger Bob." You know. So they're telling the police they have the little brother, who they kind of hint that he's like special needs or something like that. Did you notice that?
No.
Yeah. That's why she's like, it's only the three of us and we whatever, blah, 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 blah. But so he's like, yeah, there was this bear. It must have been like 800, 900 pounds.
Oh, yeah. Well, they have to say that.
And then she says, I don't know how I can thank you. Is there any way that I can thank you?
And he winks
and
at her.
Dean looks at her and he's like, well, wank. And she's like, do you have to cheapen the moment? And he's like, yeah. Yeah, I do.
Well,
and then here comes the cock-blocking paramedic. And she's like,
are you going to ride with
your brother in the ambulance? And she's like, yeah, I am. Bye.
And then Dean was sad.
Dean tells Sam, I hate camping. And Sam goes, me too. He's like, we are still going to find Dad, but this time I'm driving. And then it ends.
Yep.
The end. Episode 1, Season 2.
Yep.
Let us know if we should keep up with this. Write in. Call the phone number. I don't even remember the phone number. Do you remember the phone number?
Let me see. Let me get it.
No, you keep talking. You keep talking.
Keep talking. I can talk all day about Dean.
Oh my God.
Talk about Dean? I'll talk about Dean right now. Do you know how many winks he did in this episode?
Did you count the winks?
Yes, I did.
How many winks were there?
He winked 5 times.
You literally counted all the winks, Deborah.
Yep. He winked 5 times at her.
You're not bullshitting.
Nope.
Wow.
No.
So call our hotline. Call our hotline. Let us know. Phone number is 786 763 2278. Or if it's easier to remember, which I don't see how it would be, 786 pod 2278.
2278?
Yep.
Pod 2278.
Yep. So it's 786 763 2278. Let us know if you want us to continue doing this, if you want us to talk about something else, but we still are going to have our regular Cast of the Pod episodes on Wednesdays, which is usually Deb, myself, and Cobweb. And if it's not Cobweb, then we have like Scylla, we have Chuckles, we have KB, the OG.
Yep.
We have Andy and Sandy, we have Chris and Felicia, Team Extreme.
Yep.
And yeah.
Whoever else wants to
come out.
If you want to come and
call the number,
join
786-763-2278. Let us know. Yeah.
Let us know if you have a movie, or if you just want to have you want to give us a movie that you want to hear us talk about.
Give us an idea. You don't have to give us a movie.
I was trying to, how do I say this?
But yeah, that's it for today. You can reach out for us on social media. Also, everything's Cast of the Pod. CASTOFTHEPOD. Cast of the Pod. That's Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter. Don't really check the Twitter, but you know.
Yeah. And then soon we're also gonna have scary stories.
Oh yes, our tradition from the Josh and Deb cast is coming over here to Cast of the Pod also. We're going to read some Halloween spooky stories, scary stories.
Spooky stories.
All right, so until next time, this is today's special edition
of Supernatural
Stuff.
Episode 2, Season 1.
All right, I'm Josh.
And I'm Deb.
And thanks for tuning in. Peace.
Bye, everybody.